Okay, so I started a new game as the Mechlar, ran it on AI for a while, created a bunch of turns because I wanted to give you a demonstration of the text screen. So I'm going to load that game in right here. Load, works as you would expect it to work. Okay, so here's the game that I have saved. You can see I've gone 184 turns. So if I zoom out, you can see what the AI has colonized already. So let's go to the text screen. This is the screen by which where you decide what you want to what you've researched, how much you want to spend on what you're researching. It's kind of a good summary. So you've got the 6 categories here: computers, construction, force fields, planetology, propulsion, and weapons. And for each one, I can tab and go through each category. It'll show you the list of the technologies you've already researched. Some you come with at the beginning of the game, like reserve fuel tanks, for example, titanium armor. And then the one that you are currently researching is at the bottom. When you select it, it's white to show you which one you've selected, and the current one is always red. So you can tab force fields. He's researching class 4 deflector shields, planetology. He's researching controlled toxic environment, and he's already learned controlled dead environment. Propulsion, he's got deuterium fuel cells, which gives him, click on it, a range of 5 light years, and he's researching dynamite crystals, which gives you 7. And in weapons, he's working on a neutron blaster. Now over here on the right side, these are your 6 categories and your allocation. And just like the colony sliders, when you increase one, it decreases another. So if I come over here and use the mouse wheel to increase computer spending, you can see other things going down. And like before, I can use the number key, like 3 moves this guy up, shift 3 moves him back down, control 4, for example, blocks the 4th one, etc. So this little white line here is the spot where the research allocation would be if it was perfectly even for all across all 6. So you can hit the equals key. There's no button on the screen to do that, but if you hit the equals key, it automatically sets them all to that. And that's significant. I'll explain that in a minute. You've got your total of 1,806 research points from your empire currently going each turn. And for each of these 6 categories, you have a little light bulb that represents where the research is currently at. For example, on force fields, the light bulb is almost filled up. Once it gets filled up, then you have an increasing percentage chance each turn of discovering a technology. You can see construction has just started. And also, any bonuses related to that category that you've earned from previous techs will be displayed here. So for example, for propulsion, you have a ship range of 5 light years, top speed of 1c. Planetology, you don't have any terraforming bonuses, and your waste cleanup is you get 3 per BC spent, billions of credits. The white line here is important because every time you spend any amount of research into a category, you effectively get like an interest bonus. I believe it's equal to 50% of the spending. I'd have to go back and double check the formula. So for example, if you put let's see, 6 categories, 1,800 research total, so that's about 301 per. So if you put 301 research points into force fields, you'd get like an extra 150 next turn. That bonus stops at this point here. So if you go over, you don't get that research anymore. You don't get that research bonus. You only get the 150 up to here. And of course, when you go over this guy, you take away the research bonus from something else. So if you go equal all the way across the board, you will actually get the most research points per turn possible because you're maximizing the interest in every category. However, the disadvantage to that, and this is kind of the interesting decision, is when you choose to do that, you give up the ability to say, oh, I really need dodomite crystals and I want to speed that up. Right, so that's the interesting decision in this little mechanic here. If you want to focus on one particular technology so that you get it faster, you lose interest overall. So that's kind of a trade-off there. So some people are going to want to go easygoing, and some people are going to want to be able to occasionally pick and choose. For example, you may say, I always want to maximize my bonus in construction and planetology because the texts I'm currently studying in those categories are really important. I want to get maximize my interest here, but I need to speed this guy up. So by locking these two guys here, after hitting the equals button, you've put these guys in the best possible shape while allowing yourself to focus on another technology. That sounds really complicated, but that's the logic behind that. There was an interesting mechanic in the original game. It worked differently, and the problem is it was harder to understand, and you had to do a lot of micromanaging to take advantage of it. Where here, if you really want to maximize, you just hit the equals button and you're done. There's no micro to it. So I think that's all I'm going to show on this screen. I believe so. So that's it. Thanks, guys.